Hey YouTube, welcome back to EagleX TCG, and we're coming at you with another Gundam card game video. Now, a lot of people will probably know that we're having our first, real in-person premiere events at Gen Con this weekend. But seeing as that the slots were hard to come by, and product was also hard to come by for most people, I know a lot of you guys are sitting at home, still crafting, still brewing, still practicing, waiting for your chance to have events near you. Now, this video is going to talk about the cards that I believe are already shaping the format, what to look out for, why they are so good, and just kind of how to play around them. This is hopefully going to help you guys build better decks and also understand the meta a bit more. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's start talking about those cards. All right. So the first card we're going to talk about here is Gundam Ilfreth. And Gundam Ilfreth is just a blocker. It's a level 3/2 cost, 2/4. But the important part about this card is its stat line. Having a 2/4 stat line actually allows it to survive quite a bit. Pretty much, when you put this on the board, you know you're going to clap up any 1/1. You know you're going to clap up any 1/2. Any 2/2, and that actually makes the early game very rough for a lot of decks that thought that the early game would be their bread and butter. Now, this card is indeed a common. It is indeed a lowbie, a weenie, if you will. But just that 4 HP stat allows it to gum up the early game. On top of gumming up the early game, this card also can survive another card that we're going to talk about later. But the important part about this, essentially the fact that it comes down early in the game, it pretty much puts a kibosh on aggressive decks, and it can actually, with its 2 AP stat, actually just take things on revenge. Now, even more so, when you put something like a Suletta or a Duo under this, or even a Benager, you're going to be able to make this generally a 6 body with pretty much 3 to 4 AP, which is a huge amount of body on a blocker. And yeah, essentially this card just puts in work. Now, because of this card being a 2/4, it actually brings the importance of a very close to curve 4 AP card drop. When I talk about these, you're going to see cards on the screen, the Rizal, as well as the Gelgoog, as well as the Sword Strike Gundam. All these guys have 4 AP. Now, granted, Sword Strike Gundam comes down a turn later, but with cards like Gelgoog and the Rizal, you're going to be able to come down and immediately contest that card. Like, whether you reach this first, if you reach this first and they have the Ilfreth in hand, you can pretty much cut their value in half because they can block you once. You're going to destroy the Ilfreth, and then you're going to keep 1 AP or 1 HP up. So yes, they can either choose to get rid of their Ilfreth, or they can just let the attack go through, likely smoking their EX base at the moment. So yeah, this puts a very big stressor on having cards that can actually contest with that 4 HP that early in the game. But Ilfreth basically is a meta warper. It's a meta definer. Even though it's something slight, it is going to be a blocker that comes down in the early game, really holds it down, and it's good for most of the rest of the game too. Like I said, that 4 stat line is actually very important. Now, going to the next card when it comes to meta defining is actually Wing Gundam Zero. This is the top end for the green wing base decks with the ramp, and the crazy part about this is, yes, it is a level 8/8 cost. It is a 5/7. It does automatically have high maneuver, and then as deployed, deal 3 damage to all units that are level 5 or lower. This is going to knock pretty much aggro decks, low to the ground wingy aggro decks, out of the water if you can reach this card. This is going to put a hurting on mid-range decks, and realistically, 2 of these back to back, like if you play a Wing Zero and then the following turn you play another Wing Zero, you're generally going to cook even just blocker dot decks. Like, this is the 1/2 combo that'll even smash white blue out of the water. Now, when it comes to this card coming down and dealing damage to all units level 5 or lower, since you are usually ramping with these wing decks, you will reach those numbers before your opponent, allowing you to potentially smash everything that they've been building up. But this also does put a little bit of the onus on the opposing players, if you're not playing this deck, to be cognizant of what HP totals you're running. When we were just talking about the Gelgoog and the Rizal, you saw that those had 3 HP. that doesn't quite work because those cards will all be wiped by this card. So generally, if you have 3 HP, you need to be piloting it in order to get it above 3 HP so that it can survive this if you're playing the game. Otherwise, you might not even want to play it at all. If you have no other choice, sure, field them and just pray your opponent doesn't have the Wing Zero. But if they have the Wing Zero, they could be hitting you with a mostly, like, not even, like, partial board wipe. It's pretty bad. So when it comes to this guy, your bosses are generally going to be safe, and that's the good part. You want to make sure that is the case, but you do want to saturate your deck with some 4 HP threats or bodies that are going to be able to stick around after a Wing Zero resolves. Now, the other cool part about that is that with the card we just talked about, the Ilfreth is one of them. You can put that on as a blocker. Doesn't matter with this card because this card has high maneuver, but you can put it on as a blocker, and if you're not getting swung on by this high maneuver or breach, you can easily just block a shot because that card will survive this 3 damage. So yeah, but I'm putting this as a meta defining card simply because it does actually warp the meta. You have to be cognizant. You have to make sure that your deck can't just lose all 6 of its bodies at one time to this one card resolving. You have to make sure your pilots are getting your bodies above the threshold so they can't be destroyed by this easily. And you're also gonna have to measure out which HP you're willing to take in trades because this card could be following it up. Playing many decks, I have to keep track of their resources because when they're at 7 resources, or you know, a total of EX resources and resources, you can't just willy-nilly play all these 3 HP cards. They could very well just take it all from you next turn. So sometimes it's just good to pause and figure out what bigger plays you can do, how you can maximize your pressure. Maybe it's a draw turn, just to make sure that you don't get clapped by this card. So yeah, Wing Gundam Zero is very much so a meta warper. Now, the next card I'm going to talk about is the Cashatria. Now, the Cashatria is very interesting. It really does force decks once again to get away from these 1 and 2 HP cards. So far, if you've noticed, all 3 of the cards we talked about, Ilfreth, Wing Gundam, and this card, are just showing you how detrimental it can be to have too many cards with 1 HP and 2 HP in your deck. 3 is where it starts to get okay because you clear Ilfreth. 3 also has a fall off against Wing Zero. 3 also offers you a little protection versus this card. But the thing is with Cashatria is that when you pair it with a Cyber new type or new type pilot, you choose 1 to 2 enemy units and you're going to deal 1 damage to them. Now, the preferred link is always going to be Marita Cruz herself. Now, when you pair Marita with this, you're going to ping things for 2. Any 2 things, you're just going to ping them. However, when you swing, because of Marita's effect of being able to ping something for 1 that has an equal to or less level than the suit that you're piloting, you're going to be able to ping something that's 5 or less. And this is going to be a very strong effect, and it's also going to change up a lot of your battle math. There are going to be times where you pair and you're like ping, and you're going to swing with a 7/5 body and then ping something else. They have to decide whether they want to put a blocker in front of it. If they don't put a blocker in front of it, the thing that maybe wasn't going to die just blocking a 3/3 may die blocking a 3/3 now. And so you swing that 3/3 and they have to make a choice, you know? So this card actively does change the way other decks build. You cannot have these weenies, and you have to actually worry more about the combat math when a card like Cashatria is involved. On top of that, honorable mention out to Marita. Even putting Marita under the vanilla Cashatria is going to be able to force it to become a high priority target, because every time you swing, you're swinging for 5 and you're pinging something for 1 if it's a Lobby, which is probably going to be what's on the board at that point of the game if you're linking this fairly early. Then you have Banshee, which is going to be able to first strike 2 things, but also ping something for damage. So when you attack with a Banshee, you can ping something 6 or lower for 1, which means if you're getting its effect off by shuffling 12 cards from your drop into your deck, you're going to be able to hit something for 7 HP and kill it before it can touch you. These are wonderful optics. Now, this being said, yeah, Cashatria I do believe is a meta-defining card. I do believe that most red decks, unless you're trying to make Zaft work, should be playing Cashatria as well as your Marita. Now, I do think you can get along or without it. Sananju is definitely a good card, and we'll talk about him later. But yeah, this is 100% a card I think that you have to figure out how to build against this, because you don't want to get ran through just because this card resolved with its correct pilot. Now we're going to talk about cards that that actually aren't meta warping, but they definitely need to be taken into consideration for said meta. All right, are you following me? You following me? But first, I know everybody's still looking for Gundam TCG product. However, while I can't confirm that I can get you guys some product immediately, what I can say is that hopefully we are going to get reprints soon, and if we do, we are going to have two excellent stores to buy them from. The first being Hyper Beam Cards based out of Tijuana, and the second one being Mystic TCG based in Missouri. They both carry this game. They are both having a blast seeing the new fan base build around it in their area, and they both have online stores. So go in the description, check out their socials, check out their website for their store, and see if you can get your hands on some product today. And if not, check back in a couple weeks. All right, let's hop back into it. Okay, getting back to the fold, we have Freedom Gundam. Now, Freedom Gundam is interesting. This isn't a meta warping card, but I do think that people have to realize that when this card comes down, you have to move differently. At 6 HP, there are very few cards that can interact with it. He's not getting bounced. He is not getting rested unless you are playing suboptimal cards or you're playing Unicorn Gundam. So realistically, this guy gets a lot of mileage, and on top of that, his effect is during pair. You don't even need to link. You could just play this, and in blue-white, you get like, or white-blue, you get a Benager under this guy, and he's just a 6-8 blocker for no reason. And something got minus 2 AP for the turn, which is insane. This guy just really gums up the board. He's really hard to get over, and unless you have Hymo or Unicorn Gundam, you're likely just going to lose a couple cards to this guy just being a house. That's just pretty much how that is. So yeah, strong card. Now going over to the next one. Actually, just speaking about it, we have Unicorn Gundam Destroy Mode. Now this guy is pretty heat, level 7, 6 cost. The first line really doesn't come into play here. I think right now we don't have enough unicorn cards to go into this. I'm sure they'll make another unicorn mode with the same stats that we can at least go into it, but at this moment it's kind of narrow. To play that takes up a lot of slots. You'll end up seeing the unicorn mode more often, or less often than you want. It doesn't line up as well as it needs to, especially with this game's lack of draw and search. So realistically, I think that you don't really cheat this guy out right now. However, what you do try to do is just hit him out for 6, link him for 7, and then attack and just rest into the unit. With Benager under this guy goes up to a 7-6, very good stat line, and he's going to be able to rest things when he swings, putting up blockers out of the way or opening up bodies to be attacked by other things on your board. So once again, just understand that if you're facing off against blue, chances are they could have this waiting in the wing. So one blocker probably isn't going to be enough. Like, there are going to be a lot of boards where you're like, okay, I have just one more blocker than they have attackers, and that's going to be good. And they add Unicorn plus Benager to the board, and that's you. That's your chances of the game slipping away. So yeah, that's pretty much that. Now the next card, speaking of game winners, is going to be Char's Gelgoog. This is another reason why sometimes you have to understand that it might just be better to put up the base than to put up blockers, especially against green, because you never know. If there is a Char in the grave, in the trash, you never know when they could just play out this card, discard a card, swing into you, and that's just the game. On top of this can be cheated out with another 2 cards that make it even easier to access, virtually free or half reduced cost. There's a lot you can do with this card, but just understand that like 4 blockers on board and no base, no shields do not trump a Gelgoog coming down if they have a unit in hand to discard to get the Char back under it. So this card can come out of nowhere. It can be searched by Zaku Sniper if you play. It can be searched by Char Zaku 2. There's some times where they could swing with Char Zaku 2 and you're like, well, I'm gonna block that, and they go, bet, top 3, yes sir, Gelgoog time, and then that's you. So just understand that this is a card that can steal game easily. A lot of the cards that I'm going over right now are cards that can end the game, not necessarily cards that warp the way you build, because you can't really play around these cards. When they hit the board, they will do what they are intended to do, and you just need to know that these are options. These are popular options. Speaking of that, we do have Sinanju in this next slot, and this will actually be the last card we talk about here. Now, Sinanju is another just game-ending card. that comes down and he means business. This guy is going to literally have high maneuver as long as he's paired, not linked. And during your turn, when this unit destroys an enemy shield area with battle, or an enemy shield area card with battle damage, choose one enemy unit, deal 2 damage to it. People first need to understand that your base is in the shield area. So if this guy destroys a base, he will be pinging something for 2. If he destroys a shield, he will be pinging something for 2. He's also got high maneuver when paired, so when you play this card and then slam a full frontal under it, you're going to be able to play a card, and this guy's got high maneuver, and he can attack that turn. Now, what happens when you put this guy, put full frontal under Sinanju, and then you play out Gelgoog, and then you discard Gelgoog, or a card with Gelgoog, to put Char under him? That's 2 high maneuver bodies, potentially allowing you to crush a base and then swing for a game if that's how low. Or if they've only got 1 shield, they can swing on the shield to blow it up and then swing directly. So, realistically, this is going to be a card where you just have to understand. If they're playing Neo Zeon, if you ever see a full frontal come to their hand, just understand that you are not quite safe. They could flood the board, and especially if you see Chars in the same deck, my lord, just understand that you could have 2 Hymos coming at you when they only have 3 cards in hand. Oh, sorry, 4 cards in hand. With just 4 cards in hand, you can get hit with a Sinanju, full frontal, Gelgoog, discard Char, and have 2 high maneuvers coming at you. So it is what it is. But these are the cards that I think are shaping the format. And yeah, I think we'll close up the video now. And so there we have it. I did want to just go through those cards. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, make sure you get on the description and check out those stores, both Hyper Beam cards as well as Mystic TCG. And if you are fiending for even more Gundam content outside the card game, I just summoned for the Banshee Norn on SD Gundam G Generation on the phone. It's a mobile gacha game, and it's a pretty fun strategy game in my opinion. But that will be in the description. It'll be in one of the upcoming up next videos at the end screen. Let me know what you guys think though. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe if you want to see more Gundam card game content, and I really hope that knowing more about these cards that I talked about will help you avoid unfortunate losses to unforeseen combos, but also help you build your decks, because the first couple cards I talked about, like the first 4 cards I talked about, really are why decks are being built the way they are being built currently. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. Later.